All right, I think it's probably about time to get this thing going. So let's do it. All right. Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's pop-up information session on the 2023 Westminster Voice Pedagogy Institute. My name is John Price. I'm the assistant director for the institute. I also teach musical theater voice at both Marymount Manhattan College and also for Rider University. This year's institute is offered online and in person in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. Today, we will be hearing about the Institute from our resident faculty. That'll be Dr. Kathy Kessler-Price, research and technology expert, Dr. Joshua Glasner, also founding partner of Yoga Voice, Mark Moliterno. Kicking things off with an introduction to the Westminster Voice Pedagogy Institute is our founder and director, Dr. Kathy Kessler-Price. Take it away.
Thank you, Jonathan. I am Kathy Price. I am the director of the Voice Ped Institute, but I also am a professor of voice at Westminster Choir College of Rider University and director of the Presser Voice Lab. 11 years ago, our associate dean at the time of Westminster asked me if I would consider restarting the Voice Pedagogy Institute. Some of you may remember that Marvin Kenzie had run that for a long time, and there were some other folks in between as well, including Christopher Arneson, and to rethink it in ways that would make sense for the 21st century. I was a little intimidated but excited. Starting something new from an older framework was something I was familiar with because I went back to school when I was 50 to get my PhD. What I ended up getting was my PhD in voice pedagogy. At that point in my life, I had performed extensively. I had taught voice for 26 years, and I had been a choir director since I was 16, all of which things I still kind of do. So my first thought was, who would this be for? And of course, the very first thought that jumped in was, well, voice teachers, and that's true, in addition to others. Experienced teachers needing refreshment and inspiration. Younger teachers, or at least newer teachers, who maybe finished a degree a few years ago and now are realizing they need to deepen their knowledge a bit, and maybe think about, why does that work and that doesn't work for this student or that student. And brand new teachers who want a model for their careers, but also coaches, so people who work, pianists, linguists who work personally one-on-one with singers, who maybe want to know more of what's going on in the brain of the singer as they are thinking about vocal technique in addition to their suggestions. Also, full-time professional singers who are in opera or Broadway or local musical theater or community theater. These people who maybe have started to teach voice a little around the edges, colleagues, friends, but see this as a career path that they want to enter in the near future. In a more full-time way. And then choral directors, for whom their singers, they may be the first and possibly the one source of vocal technique for these people who sing under them. So all of these people have attended and hopefully will continue to come to the Voice Ped Institute. Next, what would we offer? Well, tools for the 21st century, which include voice science. So why does the voice work the way it does and it's able to do the myriad of things it can do? Application, how do we work with individual students and impart this knowledge to them? And Jonathan's going to talk about that some more in a moment. Access to renowned teachers and medical professionals in voice. Our regular faculty that you're meeting here, of course, do this, but also our wonderful guest faculty that are new to us each summer. And then network building with us, certainly, but also with your colleagues. The people that you'll meet in the Institute will become your lifelong connections in this profession of voice. And how would we do it? Well, we decided early on that we wanted to have everyone in the same room. We like to experience everything together at the same time, whether that room is a distant room from your home location or someone in person in Lawrenceville. We bring the online participants right into the same space by our physical setup and also the way that we manage our chat. In-person folks can actually see the distance folks and vice versa. So you really are in the same room. There are ways to do an intensive week like this that's more a la carte, but this is the decision we made, and we wanted to bring everybody into a feeling of community. So, what do we value? Well, and what is our plan and hope for you in this week? Well, obviously, we value community and we value diversity as well. I've already talked about the different kinds of professions, but certainly your life experiences and everything that you bring to the world and that you would bring to us in that week is a part of that diversity. And we also bring a diversity in terms of music styles. We don't prejudice one kind of style over another. So we talk about classical, we talk about musical theater, CCM, folk, jazz. We don't dwell on each of these topics extensively, but other than classical and musical theater, we do spend more time with those two genres. But we also want you to know that good and healthy singing is good and healthy singing. And how do we apply that across the board to different styles of singing? We value updating and renewing your, and maybe bringing you brand new knowledge and understanding about voice. We don't presuppose knowledge. So some of you might be coming with a lot of knowledge already. And we hope that you'll enjoy, at least at times, having a bit of a review. I always think that's valuable. But in addition to the review, there will be new stuff for sure. But if you are brand new to this topic of voice pedagogy, hold on to your seats. There'll be a lot coming at you, but I think you'll find that you learn a lot and maybe you'll want to come back another time to get a bit more. We like to go wide and deep as we can in a 1 week session. It is a week of intense work, of intentional work, and we want you to bring your intentions for this week. We have our own for you, but we hope that you will bring yours and also let us know what those are so that we can serve your needs a little bit more effectively. And it's a week of joyful growth. I will bring a lot of the bigger through lines of the content of the week to you. Our regular faculty that you see here will take you into more specificity, and our guests will show you how to put that content to work. Can't wait to see you July 31st through August 4th. Please join us and become a forever member of the WCC Voice Pedagogy Institute family.
Fantastic. So I guess that hands off to me. One of my favorite elements of the Institute is the opportunity to see some of the very best teachers in the country apply their pedagogy in real life situations. So we don't all have access to be able to do teacher observations, to be able to see some of these various teachers in their natural habitat, so to speak. So that's one of the big opportunities, not just to hear their lectures, but to also see them work. And then to be able to ask them questions about that work. The way that we figured out how to do this is a thing called a look-in lesson. So our first year, like so many programs, we started having these guest faculty come in and do master classes. What we found is that master classes are centered, as they should be, on the participating singers. And we wanted to center the teachers in the room a little bit more. So we developed a thing called the look-in lesson. So the look-in lesson is where the resident or guest faculty member does a 20 to 30 minute lesson with the student, and we invite them to share their inner monologue out loud. So they're going to say the quiet part out loud. They're going to have whatever they would normally just be processing in their brains as things are happening. We want them to share that process. You can see, do you hear what they hear? And then, would you have addressed what they chose to address? And that can be a really fascinating opportunity to really get the most out of an observation, because you're not just observing, you're having an observation that is specifically tailored toward the observer. So you really get a chance to see, how do these master teachers process information? How do they then go about teaching what is clearly a very effective lesson? So that's what we have to look forward to. You also get a full day with each of our guests, not just a session. So each of our guest faculty is going to be with us for a full day, and in the case of this year's faculty, even more. You'll get to see look-in lessons with novice singers, classical and musical theater collegiate singers, aging voiced singers, changing voiced singers, and everyone in between. This year, our guest faculty will be Dr. Kitty Verdolini Abbott, Mary Saunders Barton, and Norman Spivey. So I'll just go and talk about a little bit about each one of them because it's a stacked lineup this year. I feel like we always have a really wonderful lineup, but I'm really excited for the possibilities this year. Dr. Verdolini Abbott holds a PhD in experimental psychology, a master in speech language pathology, and a master of divinity. As her diverse credentials suggest, her research has helped to answer questions we didn't even know how to ask. The effect of emotions on the voice, hydration on the voice, cognition and motor learning theory, exercise physiology, and pediatric voice therapy for children with vocal nodules. I'm sure she won't have an opportunity to address all of these areas in detail, but that's the beauty of getting a full day with these people. You can ask questions, you can have an opportunity to tailor things to the way that makes the most sense for your needs. So we'll be able to give you opportunities for those sorts of things. Dr. Verdolini Abbott has been on our wish list for a while, and we are thrilled to welcome her on Tuesday of the Institute. Mary Saunders Barton and Norman Spivey literally wrote the book on cross-training. It's literally called Cross-Training in the Voice Studio, a Balancing Act. So what is cross-training? It's coordinating your voice to sing in different styles. Classical singers can use their voices as an extension of speech. They can explore contemporary registration recipes and have permission to sing in ways that they wouldn't necessarily do in a classical performance. Contemporary singers get to use their voices as instruments, play with classical sound ideals, and focus on consistency and stability. So the idea that there is value to be had in training outside of your primary vocal discipline. So we'll get to explore that in a 2-day session where both Mary and Norman will be in the room at the same time. So that's a super exciting thing. They are going to be presenting separately and together. They worked together to actually develop at Penn State the Master of Fine Arts in Musical Theater Voice Pedagogy, which is the first degree of its kind. And since Mary has now retired, they don't get to do the show together very often. So we're bringing it back for an encore performance just at the Westminster Voice Pedagogy Institute. You're not going to want to miss it. We also record every day's sessions and we send them out for your reference. So if you have to miss a session or 2 or 10, no worries. You get all of them. You can review them later. So this is really tailored to be as interactive as you want it to be or as accommodating as you want it to be for your own schedule. So we really hope that you'll be able to join us, hopefully for the week in real time, but if need be, join us for the week on your own time. And now we're going to transition this to Dr. Joshua Glasner, who's going to talk a little bit about blending science and art. So, Dr. Glasner.
Thanks, John. So, this is a pretty fundamental part of what we do at Westminster Choir College. We are always aiming to leave you with, help you to leave the Institute with feeling like you have solutions that you can use in your day-to-day practice. And, as a voice teacher, we're increasingly brought these different models of teaching, and one of the ones that is near and dear to my heart is this idea of evidence-based voice pedagogy or functional voice teaching. And what we're trying to do is make sure that every single thing you ask your singers to do has a basis in how the body works and how the mind works and how singers can best and most effectively and most efficiently make art, right? And we all here think that essentially, if you are basing your instructions on best available evidence, that you will be able to help people to make their art more effectively. So that's, as I said, that's a foundational aspect of what we do here, and we bring multiple different perspectives of how to do that. My place in the grand scheme of things here is the resident nerd, and if you're on campus, you get to play in the lab with me, and if you're not on campus, over the past few years, I have developed ways for you to have a lab-like experience while in the comfort of your own home. So I have adapted almost all of the labs that one might do at, or might choose to do at Westminster, so that you can do those at home and you can have a really similar experience with that technology. The other thing that's really important to me is that you leave here feeling confident that you can work through some otherwise, nerdy and scientific material. That if you want to figure something out, you know that you have the ability to do that. That you know that even if a paper might look really complicated, that if you approach it a certain way, that actually it's totally manageable for everyone, regardless of your background, regardless of your education, regardless of your kind of perspective as a voice teacher. So here at Westminster, what we're trying to do is make sure that you feel empowered to use a variety of different skills, a variety of different paths to help your students make art.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Joshua. Uh, Now to kind of close us out, we have our resident yogi. Mark Moliterno is the uh, founding partner of Yoga Voice, and he's going to be talking to us a little bit about mind-body integration in the voice studio. So, Mark, take it away.
Thanks, Jonathan. So I'm Mark Moliterno. I am the creator and founding partner of Yoga Voice. I was also for 17 years a member of the voice faculty at Westminster Choir College. I now serve on the faculties of the College of New Jersey and Mannes College of Music in New York City. Yoga Voice, people ask me, what is Yoga Voice? And it's very hard to come up with an elevator pitch for Yoga Voice. But what I would say about it is that it's a way of understanding the singing voice and voice use from a point of the combination or marriage of a scientific understanding and a somatic experience. So in a lot of ways, what Yoga Voice is about is marrying an objective view of the voice work and also the subjective. And this is the way all people know their voice techniques, is how it feels in their body and how they sense it in their bodies. So yoga, the word yoga itself means to yoke things together, to bring things together that seem like opposites or seem like they don't go together, but actually are part of a whole. So we view the body in Yoga Voice, we view the singer as a whole mind-body matrix, and that the yoke of yoga and the yoke of singing, of the somatic and objective experience comes together in the yoke of the singer's mind-body. So the singer becomes the yoke for science and art and also subjective experience. Yoga Voice talks about the chakra system. We talk about how to engage with your body's energies and how the voice is actually a product of energy in your body that is represented in sound. We talk a lot about breath work, and as the starting point for your voice, of course, breath is the beginning of all things. So in this week, I'll be giving daily stretch breaks, which is a nice way to just open your body and clear your mind a little bit from all the information you'll be receiving. We will be specifically working on breath work and the concept of pranayama, how energy is moved in the body with your breath. And we will then have, on the day that we do Yoga Voice, we will be talking about this idea that your body is the yoke, that your mind body is the yoke, and how that works out in singing. We'll have a Yoga Voice practice. The vocal vinyasa is our signature practice, and then we'll also have a look-in lesson. So I think this is one of the things that makes Westminster Vocal Pedagogy Institute really unique and ties everything that we talk about during the week into this beautiful bow at the end, how to make it really practical for yourself and eventually for your students. So I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you, and I look forward to the summer together.
Fabulous. And we'll just round out today's talk. And if you have any questions, just kind of feel free to either put them in the chat or we'll give you an opportunity to ask them in a second. For those of you who are joining us later, feel free to add questions in the comments or reach out to any of us directly, and we're happy to answer them. But we're going to have Dr. Price close us out a little bit with a few final thoughts.
Well, first I thought maybe I'd just ask everybody one more little round, whatever that's called, round robin. what they, if they could singularly think of one thing that they love the most about teaching voice, or teaching voice at the Pet Institute, teaching about voice at the Pet Institute, what would it be? Can you think of one thing? So, who's ready to go with that? John.
I'll fly in there first. So the thing that I love about many things I love about teaching at Voice Pedagogy Institute, but I think it's the ways in which it gives different things to different people. I've seen it be a beginning for a lot of people, who are coming in who don't have a extensive studio experience. I've seen it be a battery recharge for other people. I've seen it be a bridge to a new way of existing in sort of the voice pedagogy world to people. So I think one of my favorite things to see is to see those initial transformative or energizing experiences, and then to get to follow those people as they go in and go out and do amazing work in the world. That's probably my favorite, is to get to look and say, oh wow, I remember when that person wasn't sure what they were going to do, and then I see them presenting it, years of research at a conference, or I see them doing master classes somewhere. Like, that was really cool. I got to feel like I was there when the seed was first, watered. So that's my favorite part of it.
Great, great. Who's next? Mark, Josh, Mark.
Well, I know you said one thing, but I have one preamble and then the other thing. So the thing that I really love is the preparation that the four of us do, and the community and the comradeship and the collegial work that we do as a team. And I just am blessed by it all year long, and so I'm grateful for that. In the week, I really enjoy watching the community form, and enjoy watching people learn from one another, and I enjoy the openness of how people experience new ideas. And yeah, I think that what we do is beautifully indicative of 21st century vocal pedagogy. It's a perfect balance of different elements, and I think that's what I really enjoy, people making those connections.
Thank you. Thank you. And Josh, you got a thought you'd like to add?
I think that the thing that comes to mind for me is exactly what Mark said, that it's the community that always ends up forming every single summer. There are people I remember, being part of that journey 5 years ago with as an instructor, and then I see them across the country, and it's like that relationship that we built never kind of left, right? And those conversations continue. I think that there was a colleague of mine years ago who used to say something to the effect of like, no one's a blank slate. Knowledge isn't just dumped on someone. Everybody is a tree, and they branch out and graft new knowledge upon that. And I think that is indicative or representative of Westminster Voice Pedagogy, that we are learning from the students are learning from us, we're learning from master teachers, and there's this kind of like flow of information and methods and artistry, and I really love that.
Thank you. I shouldn't do this, but Hope, you've been with us before. Do you have anything you'd like to add to this conversation about the Institute?
I
Could you?
do. I can't. I was part of the institute back in 2018, and I cannot believe it's been that long. But and I did do some single days here and there. But I want to piggyback on what Josh said, because of uh, the atmosphere that you guys create in the institute. I've stayed friends with so many people that I met that are all over the country. So it's not just an Eastern Seaboard thing. I mean, I told Kathy once, I said, after we did the first couple of pedagogy days, I said, well, I think, one more year and I'll almost be ready to teach pedagogy. But you're always learning something new in the institute. I mean, I've been around the block a couple of times with classes and teaching, and it's a really great experience. And it's a great great setting for everybody. If you haven't been, then I highly recommend it. I'm going to be doing a couple of days long distance this year, so I'm excited about that. But if you're on the fence, don't be on the fence, do it. You'll learn an incredible amount, and I can't say enough good things about the faculty and the setting.
Thank you. That was so kind of you to do because I did not ask you. Didn't even know for sure you were going to be here. So it's wonderful to have a returning person. Um, you know, maybe because I went back to school so late in life, I spent a lot of years, as I said, about 26 years, teaching voice really quite successfully. I think, I don't feel like I ever did anybody harm. And I think that I helped a lot of people sing better. But there were so many questions I had about why things work and why other things don't work. And, I just didn't have that knowledge. And so one of my joys in the Westminster Voice Pedagogy Institute is that we are helping people to find their path and to gain knowledge along the way, in addition to all the community stuff, which I always get very sappy by the end and get emotional at the end of the week because it is such a building community experience for me as well. But if I were to single something out as the thing that I'm most happy and proud of, is that people can actually find their answers to some questions and they can find their pathway to answering other questions for themselves. Which brings us to the very end, but I wanted to say, please, please, please register. Register now if you possibly can. And if you're here present, we have the registration link in the chat. But also when this goes onto Facebook and Instagram as a recording, there will be the links there as well. If you can't register right now, understood. Maybe you're gonna, feel a little bit more solvent toward the end of the June. So just send me your name, if you would, via email. My email is the letter K Price. Maybe somebody can type it in the chat right now. kprice@rider.edu, Rider University. So kprice@rider.edu. I would just like to know you're coming, and I will send you information along the way so that you don't miss out on that. I also want you to know that you can, of course, take it as it's listed there as an audit, but you also can sign up for up to 2 graduate credits. So feel free to contact me about that as well. There are instructions on the website. I think that's everything I wanted to say about it. So it's so nice to have Mr. Santos here, and Jenna Sims, and Hope Hudson. So thank you all for joining us, and everybody else who might listen to this on Facebook or Instagram. We look forward to seeing you. We hope to see you on July 31st or one or more days of that week. Thanks again. Thanks. And bye-bye.
I have a question. Can I ask it?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I forgot to ask if you had a question. Yeah, go for it.
Don't worry, I'm very introvert, so I'm conscious about questions and all that. I'm a choral conductor in Ecuador. This is my country, and I got to know about this Institute of Voice Pedagogy. Because of Enrique Silva.
I was going to say, do you know Enrique Silva? Yes,
yeah,
yes.
He told me about this institute and about the Zoom meeting that you were having today. So I ran to connect to this meeting because I wanted to know about all this. All the program because I'm actually very interested in continuing my studies. I'm right now at the end of my, I don't know how you call it, licenciatura. It's like
you're licensing for like
a minor degree, maybe before the master's degree.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm at actually at the end of this period, and I would like to continue my studies with voice. I
Mhm.
study choral conducting. I conduct a children's choir and an adult choir, a mixed choir. But I really want to pursue this career in a more profound way, but not getting to know the voice in a better way. I'm also a singer student. I'm a countertenor, so I think all these programs works in like a some symbiotic way. Maybe
Mhm.
it's a word, symbiotic.
Yes,
Okay,
it
so
is.
we can share like everything, the knowledge and all the experiences shared from students, from teachers. I really value that, and as one of the teachers, Mr. said, all this community that is built, I'm really fond of that, and so I'm really interested in this. So I already wrote your email address,
Okay,
Miss
great.
Price. So I'm surely going to write an email for maybe more information, maybe how are the applications formed, if there's a possibility that I can pursue the course in this kind of online
Hmm.
platform,
Yes,
because it's not possible for me right now to travel
of course.
like yeah, with so less anticipation, but I'm really interested. So I really would like more info. I will write you an email
Hmm.
so I can have, and I'm really glad to meet you all. This was the short period of time that I could hear all this. Yeah, it excites me more. Yeah.
Good, good. Well, I'll respond to your email. And as Enrique maybe told you, that we also have an online master's degree called Master of Voice Pedagogy. And so that might be a wonderful way. Enrique came to Princeton when we were there for his degree, but there is an actual fully online degree. So in addition, and many people who come to the Voice Ped Institute, a number of them will often then move into the Master of Voice Pedagogy degree. So I'll be happy to talk with you about both. Okay?
Okay.
Just
Thank you
send me
so
that
much.
email.
Nice to meet
Absolutely.
you.
Hey,
Nice to
Justin.
meet
Bye.
you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.